Namaste, welcome to class number 2 of the Purusha Suktam. So we will chant the Suktam. If you know the chanting with swaras, please chant along with me, or you can just listen and I'll tell you about what our future chanting program will be. Let me shut off my phone. Om Tacham Yoravrimahe Gatum Yajnaya Gatum Yajnapataye Daivi Swastirastunaha Swastirmanushebhyaha Urdhvajugatum Bheshajam Shanno Astuttvipade Shanpaschatushpade Om Shanti 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 Om Sahasrashirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishtaddashangulam Purusha Evedagum Sarvam Yadbhutam Yadcha Bhavyam Utamritat Vasyeshanaha Yadannena Tirohati Etavanasya Mahima Ato Jaya Guscha Purushaha Pado Osya Vishwa Bhutani Tripadasya Mritan Divi Tripadurtha Udait Purushaha Pado Osyeha Bhavat Punaha Tato Vishwam Vyakramat Sashananashane Abhi Tasmaat Viradajayata Virajo Adipurushaha Sajato Atyarichyata Paschat Bhumimatho Puraha Yat Purushena Havisha Deva Yagyamatanvata Vasanto Asya Sidajyam Grishma Itma Sharadhavihi Saptasyasan Paridhayaha Trisaptas Samidakritaha Deva Yadyagyantan Vanaha Abadhnan Purushan Pashun Tan Yagyan Barhishi Praukshan Purushan Jatamagrataha Tena deva ayajanta sadhya rishayaschaye tasmaat yajñat sarvahutaha sambhritam prishadajyam pashugastagaschakre vayavyana aranyan gramyaschaye tasmaat yajñat sarvahutaha richasamani jaggire Chandagumsi jaggire tasmaat yajustasmadajayata tasma ashva ajayanta yeke chobhayadataha gavoha jaggire tasmaat tasmaat jata ajavayaha yat purushan vyadaduhu katidha vyakalpayan Mukhan kimasya kau bahu kavurupada vucchete brahmano osya mukhamasit bahu rajanyah kritaha uru tadasya yadvaishyaha padbhyagum shudro ajayata chandrama manaso jataha chaksho suryo ajayata Mukhadindraschagnischa pranat vayurajayata nabhya asidantariksham shirshnodyau samavartata padbhyam bhumirtishashrotraat tata lokagum akalpayan vedahametam purusham mahantam Adityavarnam tamasastu pare sarvani rupani vichitya dhiraha namani kritva vivadan yadaste Dhata purastatyamuda jahara shakraf pravridvan pratisaschatasraha tamevam vidvan amrita iha bhavati nanyaf pantha ayanaya vidyate yagyena yagyamaya devaha tani dharmani prathamanyasan te hanakam mahimanas sachante yatra purve sadhya santi devaha adbhyah sambhutah prithivyairasa acha vishvakarmanas samavartatadhi tasya tvashta vidadat rupameti tat purushasya vishvamajanamagre vedahametam purusham mahantam adityavarnam tamasah parastat tamevam vidvan amrita iha bhavati nanyah pantha vidyate yanaya prajapatischarati garbhe antaha ajayamano bahudha vijayate tasya dhirah parijananti yonim marichinam padamichanti vedasaha yo devebhya atapati yo devanaam purohitaha purvo yo devebhyo jataha namo ruchaya brahmaye ruchan brahman janayantaha deva agre tadabruvan yastvaivam brahmano vidyat tasya deva asanvashe Rishchate lakshmischa patnyau ahorartre parshve nakshatrani rupam ashvinau vyattam ishtam manishana amum manishana sarvam manishana om shanti shanti shanti. Well, like it happened the other day, it says lost contact with Mevo, but it happened as a false signal. Let me see if anybody has called me, or I assume things are okay, but let me double check it. I don't know why this is happening. No one has sent me any text or anything, so it looks like we are on and you can watch me. So welcome all of you. I thought I would start by letting you know what our chanting schedule will be. I think I will begin all classes with chanting, and it takes about 5 minutes or so, 5.5 minutes, and so I will do that for the first few classes. Just a second. Yes, Chandra. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Then I think Sri Narayan had a good suggestion to me. What he said was that we can actually start at 5 minutes early at 7:55 and just have the chanting going on, either a recorded chanting from me or from perhaps Chalakare brothers. I will look into that. We'll have to pay them to use there. And so once we have that chanting, then we can begin teaching the class at 8 o'clock sharp, so that you get into the chanting mood before 8 o'clock. I think it's a good suggestion. So we will do that, but perhaps not for the first few classes. So for the first few classes, we will continue what we did today, which is that I will start the chant perhaps a minute or two early from 8 o'clock, and then we will begin the class. Okay. So I think I had mentioned to you last time that there can be possibly 3 approaches to learning and enjoying the Purusha Suktam. And The three could be, of course, it's really not very appropriate, but I'll just mention it anyway, which is tamasic. So the tamasic approach is where you don't really learn chanting, you don't learn, that's not going to happen. But it's very possible theoretically that one may actually not pay much attention to it and so on. You're not paying any praise to Ishvara if you take the tamasic approach. Then the second approach is the rajasic approach with the rajas. And the rajasic approach is that we learn the chanting accurately with the swaras, as I think many of you already know, and some of you are trying, and hopefully many others will enjoy the chanting. Once you learn swaras, it's so beautiful. It just calms your mind down. It's so wonderful. And you enjoy the chanting, and you do it accurately, and you do it whenever you can. So this is the rajasic way of looking at it. And perhaps I meant to also mention that you may actually know some of the word meanings. Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha, that the Purusha with 1,000 heads. So you know the meaning of 1,000 heads, and if somebody says, what does it mean? So you say the Purusha with 1,000 heads. It's an accurate, but not the intended meaning, as we will see today. So this meaning plus just the chant itself could be the Rajasic approach. But what we're going to do is to take the Sattvic approach. And the Sattvic approach is that you enjoy the chanting, the Ucharanam, accurate Ucharanam, of course. But then as you chant a deeper meaning which has already been communicated to you, you have already learnt it, and this is what we are going to try to do, that deeper meaning sits in your mind and your heart silently, and it benefits you. You get some freedom from it. You know, I would mention one thing, which is that really all of Vedanta, the entire teaching of Vedanta, is meant to improve your sukham, your happiness. So the end result is always something that you feel good about. You may talk about Ishvara, you may talk about other things as we will see and so on, but one should not forget that it is really meant for me as a human being and for my goodness. So this is one-for-one communication between the teaching of Vedanta and the student. And so in that sense, the Sattvic approach allows you to dive deep into it, if I can use that word, dive deep into it, so that you understand the meaning of it and you enjoy thinking about it. You don't even, your ucharanam, your chanting just recedes into the background, and really what remains is a very pleasant understanding of what the meaning of it all is. This is the Sattvic approach, and I'm going to take that approach. Now, I'm a realist that in this large a class, and by the way, our registrations have grown quite a bit since even the last class. I had not registered some of you. Some of you had not registered at all. So anyway, we have about 105 people registered in the class today. So for this many people, it will be difficult to make sure that I can really fulfill everyone's requirements. I think that there are three types of students as I see for this class, not in general, but just for Purusha Suktam. So one class are people who don't know Vedanta. And they may know Purusha Suktam, they've heard about it, they want to perfect it by chanting and so on, but they really don't have any background to Vedanta. This is one class of people. Another class of people is just the opposite, where you don't know the chant, you don't know what it really means, but you know Vedanta. You've had quite a background of classes and so on and so forth of what Drik, Drish, Drishya, Atma, Anatma, Mithya, Maya, all of those kinds of things you know pretty much by now. You're technically quite competent in that sense. So that's the second class. Then the third class, of course, are people that know both. You know Vedanta as well as Purusha Suktam, and you enjoy it and you just want to get a deeper meaning into it. So it'd be difficult for me to really maximize the teaching for all three of these subclasses of students. It's kind of like a bell-shaped curve, and I'm hoping that the middle of the blood bell shape is quite broad and that you can gain from it. But I just wanted to let you know that in this larger class, it'll be very difficult to I will not be able to spend a lot of time, for example, explaining Vedanta. They just won't have, you'll have to go to some other classes for doing that. I'll assume that you know what the basics are, because really what I'm going to focus on, really speaking, when I say sattvic approach, is the Vedantic meaning of Purusha Sukta. This is what it is. This is what Swami Maheshananji has focused on in his books. And that is really what I'm going to teach. Okay, with that preamble, let us get into the Purusha Suktam. So, as I think most of you know, this is a very important set of mantras that exist anywhere in the Vedic science, in Hinduism, because it is prevalent in almost all the Vedas. I don't even know some of the places that it is in. All I knew was that it was in Rig Veda Samhita, the Samhita for Rig Veda. So this I knew, but I didn't know that it's in. I saw that in some of the books and so on. Taittiriya Aranyaka, Vajasaneya Samhita, Samaveda Samhita, Atharva Veda Samhita, and a few other places. This is just a partial list. So this is a very very important set of mantras, and we will try to see why that is the case. I found out that there is an Upanishad which is partially devoted to understanding Purusha Sukta. And luckily, I have 3 volumes of a book which gives me the mantras for 108 Upanishads. 108. I got this, 15 years ago, and I consulted from time to time on some Upanishad that I'm not very familiar with. And the best part for me is that the meaning of the mantras are in Hindi, and so it had become a lot easier for me. So I was looking at this Upanishad, which is called Mudgala Upanishad. Mudgala Upanishad. Mudgala is a surname which is popular in India even today. I think I had a friend in high school whose last name was Mudgala. Mudgal. And so this is a rishi called Mudgala Upanishad, and it has 4 parts, 4 khandas, and the first khanda is devoted purely for explaining, a brief explanation, it's not a very detailed explanation, Purusha Suktam. And I reviewed the relevant portions for this class also, and I'll come to that in a minute. But I think that I should let you know that primarily I'm following Swami Maheshananji's books. Now, one other thing to mention here and I've read this at several different places, that these Purusha Suktam references at various places like Vajasaniya, Samhita, Samaveda, Taittiriya, and so on, they are not exactly the same. Some are less in number, some are more in number. The one that we have, which is the Rig Veda Samhita, and I sent you a copy of that from Ramakrishna Mission from Bengaluru, and so that has 24 mantras, and that's the one we are going to follow. Swami Maheswaranji, I notice, I should also say that in some cases not only is the number of mantras different, some cases it is 12, some cases it is 24, some cases it is more than 24, but the sequence of the mantras are also different. And I notice in the books by Swami Maheswaranji that we will be taking, the sequence is slightly different than the one we are used to. And I'll point that out. It doesn't really make much difference as long as the overall concept has been clarified for us. But I just wanted to make sure that this might come up. Okay, now I have a choice to do. So let me do this. I am going to briefly translate the first 4 mantras. Briefly. Almost like a sentence meaning which is the Rajasic approach for this one, just for the time being. Then I want to talk about some general principles which are the real depth of the Purusha Suktam, after we have had a short introduction to the meaning of the first 4 verses. And that is where the real teaching begins. But let us, without waiting too long, at least let's look at the word meaning of the first 4 verses. Okay. So, the first verse, of course, is Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasra Akshaha Sahasra Pat Sabhumim Vishwataha Vritva Atyatishtat Dashangulam. Okay, so here's the word meaning. The meaning is that this Purusha, and we will see the meaning of Purusha a little bit later on. And so the Purusha, and I think this is something that I'm going to really clarify and spend a lot of time on. The concepts of Purusha Suktam apply to both Ishvara as well as to Jiva. Very important thing to note. And it underscores what I said earlier, which is that really this is not just to understand Ishvara per se. This is to understand myself. This is the end result of Vedanta. Ishvara is, even for a person who goes to temple, let's say, who looks upon Ishvara as being different from me. This is the Paroksha Jnanam, Dvaitam. Even for that person, really what is important is by doing this puja, what do I get out of it? It's not as though you're going to please Ishvara. Ishvara doesn't need any pleasing. He's already full, the very nature of fullness. And so Ishvara doesn't need any, it's not as though he's waiting for your stotram and your puja. So that's already taken care of. We already know that. So really speaking, anything that you do as a puja is meant for yourself. And so here also in the Purusha Suktam, this is an important thing that I will repeat many, many times, is that the features of Purusha also apply to you and I. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that for the time being, and we will come back to this. This is a very important vedantic principle of understanding Purusha Suktam. So anyway, going back to the first verse, when it says Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha, it really means both the Jiva as well as Ishvara, as we will see later. So this is not just Purusha as a Ishvara Purusha. This is Jiva also a Purusha. It's very confusing at this point. How can you say that? I have only one pair of eyes. I have only one head. The Ishvara has many heads. We will tackle that issue a little bit later on. But for now, as a placeholder, look upon it as Ishvara. Eventually, my understanding, instead of being a paroksha jnanam, becomes aparoksha jnanam, which is myself alone. And so that will come a little bit later on, but we might as well be ready for it. So anyway, going back to the strict sentence meaning, Sahasra Shirsha Purusha means that this Purusha has 1,000 eyes. And the 1,000 eyes, it is very clear, it doesn't mean which 1,000, how come not 2,000? It is Anant, it means, Sahasra means Ananta. So this is given in the very first verse of Mudgal Upanishad. I was reading this, so he says, the first verse of Mudgal Upanishad is Sahasra Shirsha iti atra Sahasra Shabda Ananta Vachakaha. Sahasra Shabda Ananta Vachakaha means that the count of 1,000 is intended to indicate infinite. So it's a poetic use. It's a poetic use. When we say, wow, you are so beautiful, your face is like the moon. If you take that to a lady, that your face is like the moon, and she might say, the moon has gotten all these kinds of black spots. Do I have any black spots? I don't have any black spots. What do you mean by that? You say, oh, so sorry, I didn't mean to say that. All I meant to say was, you're beautiful, the moon is beautiful, and the two are very pleasing to me. And so the Sahasra and the Ananta is like that. Sahasra means it is infinite. And not only Sahasra Purushaha, it'll come that a little bit later on. Anyway, let me hold on to the second one. So Sahasra Purushaha, Sahasra Akshaha, same thing. The one with 1,000 eyes means one with infinite eyes. Sahasra Path, the one with the Karmendriya, which is the Padam, which is the feet. One which has all Karmendriyas are Ishvaras. All Jnanendriyas belong to Ishvara. Ishvara is the one that has made and entered into all of them, as we will see later on. Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva. Bhumim Vritvato Vishwa means the one that has now surrounded the various elements, Mahabhutas. Bhumim means all the Mahabhutas. Here Swami Maheshanji made a very beautiful commentary. He said, when you say, supposing somebody says, my shop is now open as of tomorrow. This is what it says. This is the final result. So the bhumim is the final result. does it also not mean all the previous steps? The steps being, you have to look for land, you have to lease a space for your shop, you have to stock up all the inventory, you have to get the permission of the government, you have to do some advertising, and now your shop is ready. So when you say my shop is ready, please come, it means you cannot say, by the way, I have also taken permission, I poured some foundation. It's not necessary. It's all included. So here when you say sabhumim vishvato vritva, that means that the entire set of elements in the whole world, of which there are only 5, as you know. So Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, and Prithvi. So space, air, fire, waters, and the earth, the solid. The entire space is made out of only these 5 elements. And Ishvara has created all 5 of them. In fact, the whole creation has been entered into. This entry into, we will see this later on. So anyway, that means that he has reached all the places. Then the last one is Atyatishtat Dashangulam. This is a very interesting one. Here also the Upanishad points out Ananta Yojanam Praha Dashangula Vachaha Tatha. It says that, wait a second, when you say Dashangulam means 10 fingers. It goes beyond the visible universe by 10 fingers. And again, this is poetic. Why the Upanishad why this mantra will use a 10 fingers, people are not very clear about. But anyway, from the meaning of it, it means, and this meaning is a very important meaning, as we will see. It says that don't think that Ishvara is limited to the visible creation. It goes much beyond that. And this is also true for the individual. This is what we have to see. First we see it for Ishvara, how Ishvara, and we will see that clearly, but then we will also see clearly how it applies to me too. Anyway, Atyatishtat Dashangulam means, Atyatishtat means going beyond the Sahasra Shirsha, Sahasra Akshaha, Sahasrapat, Bhumim Vishvato Vritva. Beyond that, it goes on and on, much more than that. How it goes on and all that we will see later on. That's what it says. Now, the first verse, as pointed out by this Upanishad, again I'm taking the aid of the meaning of the Upanishad, just to make sure that you don't think that I am making it up. This is something which is all given in the Upanishads itself. I'm simply broadcasting what my understanding is. So, he says in verse number 2, Tasya Prathamaya Vishnoho Dashataha Vyaptihi Irita. Okay? Sorry. Tasya Prathamaya Vishnoho Deshataha Vyaptihi Irita. And so he says that in the very first verse, the Vyapti, which means, so this is Vishnu, Ishvara as Vishnu. So this is a Narayana. It could be anything, but here it is Ishvara is pictured as the Vishnu. Vishnu is spread from a deshataha. Deshataha means that from a time of space, he's everywhere. Everywhere means all the heads are his, all the eyes are his, everything. And in fact, that is not the end of it. It goes beyond that. Beyond that means you left, right, up, down, whatever, it doesn't matter. So, deshataha vyaptihi. The next verse is kalataha vyapti. From the standpoint of time, how it says, Purusha eva idagum sarvam. Whatever you see just now, right at this moment, is nothing but Purusha alone. How is that? This we are going to see. How Purusha is, everything that you see is Purusha alone. But anyways, to start things off, not only that, yat bhutam. It's not as though Purusha is everything today, but Purusha in any period of time that has already gone, was any of the things at that time were also Purusha. And yatcha bhavyam, what is to come will also be Purusha. And so we can stop at that point on the first line of verse number 2. Purusha eva idagum sarvam yad bhutam yatcha bhavyam means now Upanishad says Vishnoho deshataha vyapti iti irataha dvitiyaya cha asya Vishnoho kalataha vyapti uchyate. Beautiful. It means that the first verse is to explain the presence of Ishvara in everything in any part of the space. So it's also like a two dimension. So one dimension this way, horizontal is space, and then the vertical dimension is the time. And the third dimension, of course, is vastutaha. Vastutaha means anything which exists also is nothing but, and that's included in both space and time. Anyway, so that's the first line of the second verse. Okay. Then the Purusha Suktam changes gear a little bit, and it says Uda Amritatvasya Ishanaha. Amritatvasya Ishanaha. Amritatva means one which is immortality. So this is the greatest, one of the three greatest desires that we all have, which is immortality. Nobody wants to be gone. We are used to be knowing that we are going to be gone, but we don't want to. We want to be there forever. And this is why people get their pictures taken. And the idea is that if I am not here, at least my memory will be staying with my progeny. How long is it going to stay with the progeny? Maybe one set of children. After that, the grandchildren, then it gets receded. That is silly. But anyway, the idea of Amritatvam, Amritam, is deeply ingrained, and it should be. It should be. So here he says, Uta, he says, now the same Purusha is the Ishanaha of Amritatvam. He is the Lord of Amritatvam. Means, what do you mean by the Lord of Amritatvam? It means that He alone can give you Amritatva. You have these Puranic stories that the Asuras and the Devas, and they all were drinking Amritam and so on and so forth. That's fine, but really the originator of Amritatvam is Ishvara, is Purusha. You know that very famous story about the Asuras and the Devas. They were both doing a lot of Vedic chanting and Vedic study and so on. And so, I forget who, but, either Shiva or Vishnu, or you probably know better than I do, was very pleased with them and said, okay, now you can have this, and I think it might have been the Manthanam. And so there was a lot of the Vishas from the, what's the name of that, of the serpent. But anyway, so the point is that you get the Amritam. So you have the Asuras on one side, and you have the Devas on the other side, and they both were given plenty of Amritam for them. Now, there was one condition. So Ishvara gave them one condition. You cannot bend your elbows when you are drinking the Amritat. So this became a huge problem, because in order to drink the Amritam, you have to get it very close to this. Only a few drops per person. So how do you do that? You cannot do it. And so the Asuras were never able to figure it out. The Devas figured it out right away. So they became paired, and they asked the other person, okay, you give it to me and I'll give it to you. And the Asuras found that out, but they never trusted each other. What if I give it to you and then you give it to me first? So the other person says, no, you give it to me first. They were never able to, and the whole thing spilled, and they never achieved. Anyway, that's just a side story that kind of, I remembered it from my study with Swami Dayanandji. But here, the Purusha is the Ishana. And in fact, this gives me an opportunity to say that I will be using the word Ishvara as the common word for God. And so, and the word Ishvara has a good meaning to Ishanaha here. Ishvara means Ishaha plus Varat Pratyaya. Varach Pratyaya. So the Varach Pratyaya in Sanskritam means nothing but. Totally. That's why the word Bhaswara is used for the sun. Means the one which is nothing but Bha, light. So Ishvara means the one who is only the boss. It can never be not the boss. So, uta aplitatvasya ishanaha. Yat annena atirohati. And so, one which is, this has a very difficult meaning. We'll have to postpone that. How come annam becomes part of the amritattvam? But anyway, one that grows with the annam. In other words, whatever growth there is, the end point of that really is nothing but Purusha, which is the amritatvasya ishanaha. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pause only after two. I was thinking I'll cover all the four. I'm only going to cover the first two for now and give you some general principles upon which we are going to be basing our teaching on. I think that's an important thing to do. Okay, so I kind of hinted at it in the beginning, never got a chance to finish it. Let me complete a little bit more, and then we will go back to the Rajasic meaning. This is more of a sattvic approach to this. So, one concept I have already told you, which is that please remember that the study of Purusha Suktam is for my benefit, our benefit, not just me personally, but our individual benefit. And the way this will be appreciated is if we can translate the Mahima of Ishvara, Mahima, Aishwaryam, Etavanasya Mahima, and already in verse number 3. This greatness of the Purusha, it is possible for that Mahima to be mine. This is the central theme that we have to think about. So this brings up a very interesting and an important point. The study of Purusha Suktam, in fact the study of anything, can be considered to be either interesting information or absolutely wonderful knowledge that benefits me. So in the last few classes of Swami Tattva Vedananda, in the first few classes of the Tattva Vedananda ji, when he was here in Milpitas back in October or so, he made this point very clearly and over again. I really appreciated that, which is many times the student's approach is to collect information. And we don't look upon it as something what is very useful to me. If it has not become useful to me, then I have not studied it properly yet. There's a humorous story that Swami Maheshananji gave, which says there was a Raja who said, I am going to give 1 crore of rupees to a person who can tell me about the 4 Vedas. So there was a person who said, he raised his hand right away and he says, oh, when I come tomorrow morning? So Raja said, really? You're ready? He says, oh, ready. I'll come. So he says, okay, come at 8 o'clock. The whole darbar was there and he says, okay. He says, there are 4 Vedas. Rig Veda, Sama Veda, and he recited all the 4 Vedas. Okay. And the names of all the 4 Vedas. And the Raja said, yes. So he says, now give me the 1 crore of rupees. The Raja said, what the heck are you talking about? Just the names? He says, that's what you said. Give me the names give me the four Vedas. I know the 4 Vedas. So Raja said, oh my God, I have a foolish person in my kingdom. That is so amazing. So very similarly to the case is that sometimes we simply collect information without seeing how it really benefits me. So the study of Purusha Suktam is like that also. It's not as though you can go around saying, you know what, I have taken a course in Purusha Suktam also. It has 24 verses. First one says Sahasra Shirsha Purusha, and I can recite all of them and so on. So what? What does it do? It's information, and you can impress some people in a bar somewhere that while you're drinking beer, that I know Purusha Suktam, I know this Taittiriya Upanishad, I know this, I've studied this and so on. How does it affect you? What knowledge did you get out of it? So therefore, it is important for us to keep that in mind. So for instance, our initial feelings are that Purusha Suktam tells us about the creation of the world, how the world's creation took place. It is very natural. This is what it is known for. If that's what we get, we have failed. We have really not converted that into, how useful is that for you? You can go into some assembly and say, did you know how this world was created? They'll say, no, we don't know how it was created. Tell us about it. I'll tell you what. So first he created Virat, and from Virat he did this, and from there he did this. And people will say, wow, that is wonderful. How are you doing? Well, I'm not a very happy person because of coronavirus, and then you have all these riots going on and so on and so forth, and I'm not happy. But anyway, I know Purusha Suktam. It doesn't mean anything. Until you're able to improve your responses to the world with all of the things that are going on, and be more secure and happier regardless of what happens, you haven't really reached anything. And so if we do not get that out of the Purusha Suktam, what good does it make? So it's an important thing for us to see. So so two things we have said so far. One is that whatever applies to Ishvara should eventually be seen to apply to me. And the second one is, at every point in time, you have to ask yourself, is this information or is this knowledge? And as you know very well, I don't have to tell the Vedantic students here, that knowledge can result in some happiness. When you know that there are certain things about coronavirus and so on, that knowledge is helpful to you. That you should be wearing a mask is knowledge. That you should be avoiding close contact with unknown people is knowledge which is helpful to you. But that knowledge is helpful only up to a limited means. It maybe helps you to stay healthy. Important. Self-knowledge, on the other hand, the knowledge of the Atma, is not limited happiness, it is unlimited happiness. So therefore, what I'm saying is that if you look at the three stages here, so one is purely information, not useful at all other than for bragging purposes. Secondly is paroksha jnanam, which is useful, much more useful, but still limited, and aparoksha jnanam, where you yourself become knowledgeable about the very freedom of yourself. That knowledge translates into unlimited freedom. This is what we should be really thinking about as we approach any Vedantic study, including the Purusha Suktam. Okay. Another thing to look at as in the Purusha Suktam is that it is not only a treatise for the individual but also the individual's role in the society. This is one of the unique parts of Purusha Suktam, which is not there in the other ones. And we'll go into that in great detail as we proceed. So Swami Maheshananji has said that really this should be seen as, and this is probably the last point that I will make today, and then leave the rest until next time. And so here's what Maheshananji says, that this should be seen as a book of social science. Again, the same thing should be kept in mind, that if you know social science, in India, this used to be a stigma, I remember, that you ask somebody, so did you go to college? They'll say, yes, we went to college. I've done BA. Oh, you've done BA, wonderful. What did you study? Well, I majored in social science. Everybody says, aha. That means you could not get into engineering college. You could not get into business college. You could not get into medical college. You could not get into law school. And so what was left was just social science. It's an absolute useless thing. It is not. If you really are very good at it, it will be wonderful. So the society, understanding of the society and so on is not just for degree. Then what is it meant for? So the way the Purusha Suktam will explain this is, what should be my role in my life? How should I look at the various roles that I play in my life? This is a very important topic. And Purusha Suktam specializes in doing this. And really what we should see, which I'm going to repeat in the next class in more detail, is that the whole creation is the handiwork of a great composer, writer, producer and director all rolled into one. This is a absolutely phenomenal show that we are participating in, and one where everybody has to play a role. And what role to play and how to play the role is explained quite well in Purusha Suktam. So one may ask, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? It makes a big difference. How I play my roles, what roles I play. So this is where we're going to go into Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya and Shudra, and all of those things are going to come. So you'll just see some interesting aspects to all of that. So what role I play and how I play the role is very important. So here I think I'll give you an example of the there's a couple of very interesting examples. So one example given by Swami Maheshananji is that in the movie industry there was a person who excelled playing the role of a villain. And I'm so old. I'm talking about Indian movies back in the 50s and early 60s, because in 64 I came to the US and I was completely cut off from all of the movies after that. I haven't seen hardly any movie after that from India. But before that, in the 50s and so on, I used to see, like all of us did in college. So there was this guy called Pran. I don't know if you're old enough to remember any of that. But this guy was a really good villain. So good, in fact, that the moment he would show up in a scene in a new movie, people will say, oh, here comes trouble. He doesn't even have to open his mouth. He was so familiar, and he had a certain expression of looking at things in a sideways and all of that kind of a thing. He was a big villain. So Swami Maheshananji says, so, this villain made a lot of money making a lot of movies as a villain. Then he said, you know what? I don't want to play villain anymore. Why not? What's the problem? Well, for one thing, people have a kind of a way of looking at me whenever, even if I'm in a party or something, they're thinking of me as a villain, doesn't go away. So they cannot really, except for my close friends and so on. Anyway, I'm tired of playing a villain. I want a different role altogether. I want to be a hero. Because, I can act very well now. So he says, yeah, we know you can act very well. So he says, okay, now please give me a role as a hero. So the producer, who was a good friend of his, says, Pranji, I'm so sorry. I can't do that. What? Why can't you do that? You just put me give me a role as I've spent so much I've made so much money for you in the movies. She said, sir, you don't understand. As soon as you appear as a hero, people will have a hard time seeing you as a hero. And that movie will fail. I cannot do that. You are all set in your role. You cannot change the roles in midstreams and become completely different. So don't try that, and don't even go to anyone else. That's my sincere advice to you. Not just for my movies. You can go to anyone and it'll fail. Don't do it. Swami Maheshananji says, we make that mistake in our life all the time. And we need to be very careful about that. We need to understand what is happening. So we will, this is an important point that we will go over in more detail next time. So another point of that, in summary, which I have not finished yet, is that Purusha Suktam is a highly technical social science book that helps me to understand what roles to play and how to play the roles, and what is my relationship to the society, to my own family, and to the society, and to the nation. So it gives you that dimension also. So it is not just self-knowledge, but also the way because self-knowledge is not easy. It comes towards the end of my leading a very good life. It's not that trivial. So at least I should make a lot of progress in my life towards being ready for self-knowledge. And that readiness also comes from understanding what my roles are, what am I supposed to do, how should I treat people, how should I understand how people treat me, etc., etc. That also will become as part of the topics of Purusha Suktam. I think with that, my time is up. It is 9 o'clock. So with a small prayer, I will pause here. And then in the next class, what we will do is to finish the last 2 verses in the explanation of the meaning of the 4 verses. 2 we have done already, 2 more to go. Then after that, we will look upon the first 4 verses as a set, and to understand what is the vedantic meaning of the first 4 verses. Right now it was just the Rajasic meaning. Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasrapa Aksha Sahasrapad, etc. Thousand, etc. Atyatishta Dashangulam E Purusha Edavidam Sarvam Yad Bhutam Yatcha Bhavyam. Well, we know all that. But what does it mean? There is a meaning behind all that. So I think that we should be able to see most of it. That is a very important topic, really. The first 4 or 5 verses really are the crux of the whole Purusha Suktam, as it often happens. We are seeing the same thing in Drigdrishya Viveka. First 5 verses is the entire vision. Here also, in the 5th verse, in fact, I think it is the 5th verse that Swami Maheshanandji spends more than 200 pages on. I think I told you that. On this one. Tasmat virada jayata virajo adi purushaha sa jato attirichyata paschat bhumi mato puraha. And I know you're not going to attend my classes for the next 4 years. You only have limited time. You're looking at your watch. And I don't have the time either. So somehow we have to condense it into something that we can grasp. But anyway, all I'm saying is that the enormity of the knowledge will all be contained in the first few verses. And the rest of them will be supporting it and clarifying it. But the message and the knowledge is all given in the first 4 or 5 or 10 or 6, 7 verses. So we'll make a lot of progress in next week on that. Okay. So with that, I close the class and say a prayer and see if you have any questions. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Harihi Om. Okay. Okay, right. Okay, let me glance at people that are here. Got a long list, so I won't read it all like I did last time. But I'm glad that I reviewed the list last time because I had missed many of you. So Shanti Kumar says Pran was a gentleman villain when compared to present day villains. Is that right? I have not seen any of the present day movies. You must be right. There is no questions as per se, but I'm so happy to see all of you here. I'll just quickly point out the names. Chris Narayan, Surendra Bhargava, Shruti Harve, Sri Krishna Venkataraman, Maithili Ramakrishnan, Ila Joshi, Prakash Nair, Jai Raj, Murli Daswani, Renu Deswani, I would imagine. Mary Penn, T. Srinivasan, Vandana Agarwal, Ashok Tekchandani, the Thandris, Dinesh Bhuva, Shanti Kumarji, Arvind Taylor, Lichi, Zarina Kaji, Kirsten from Italy. She's always so punctual on this. Hello, Kirsten. Hitesh Shah, Suvarna, Sudha Tomar, Krishna Biru, Anand Gundu, Chandra Dulam, Chakra Shivatsa, hello Chakra, Shashi, Jugal, Kalpana Dave, Subroto, Andrea and Ramanand, K. Shankar, Satish, Virendra Singh, Sulekha Chaudhary, Gajananam, Vandana Agarwal, Deep T, yes, Arun Rajanala, Dan Govindan and Vanitha, Shankar Narasimhan, Chawla Joshi, Anupam Velpuri, Sulochna Lulla, Lorenzo, Larry, Sudha Tomar, Arvind Taylor, Chandra Dulam, Sam Dillon, hello Sam, Surendra Chaudhary, Priya Kasturi. Okay, good. I don't see any questions per se. So we will, let me look at one time. I think I got logged off. Just very quickly one more time to see if you had any questions. Press the wrong button or something. Chandra Dulam, is Purusha Suktam derived from the Upanishad you are using? No, this is the interesting thing, that this Mudgo Upanishad, which is not a really major Upanishad, no, it's because I have a list of 108 Upanishads and this is one of the minor ones, simply comments on the Purusha Suktam. Here in the introduction it says that the Mudgala Upanishad is connected with Rig Veda. So it's a very funny thing. It may not be in the Rig Veda, but it may be one of the Upavedas where it is connected to it. I am not absolutely positive about that. I'll have to ask Swami Tattvavidananji on this. I'm not a scholar of that. But anyway, what I'm saying is that no, this is not, the Upanishad is a separate book that comments on the Purusha Suktam. It is, those two are not connected together, no. It doesn't look like there's some other questions. So, Anjali Deshmukh, good. So, namaste to all and we'll see you next week. Om.